let's play Blondie.
Not
That
so
sounds
cool.
good out of Nine Inch Nails.
Right.
I mean,
How cool.
it was cool.
My buddy Bob Lester, he is it's Bob and Brock in the morning on K-Well
Okay.
in Alaska, and this super fan always wanted to get into radio. She bought a radio station out there
Oh, yeah?
in his city, so he does the biggest rock show in Anchorage.
Nice.
Then he, on the way home, stops in and does 2 hours of like whatever he wants. So he'll
so
like call
gorgeous.
me up and be like, just talk to me on the phone, and then like, what do you want to hear? And I'll be listening to the app
Yeah.
from here
Yeah.
on my radio, and it's just so cool. And he's like, to have that freedom to do
It's
whatever he
amazing.
wants.
It's amazing.
And it's because she is such a big fan of his
Yeah.
that he has this 2 hour reign to just
Right.
do whatever he wants.
And what do you request?
Oh, all kinds of stuff. I will go
request?
all into like from Journey to oh my gosh, like he introduced me to Shinedown and Papa Roach, and like these were songs that he would like play on the morning show that I would listen to. And one day I was like, you got to put together a playlist for me.
Yeah.
Like send me a playlist of like the songs that I should know about. And so that's what we get into. And one day he actually was talking on the radio about the good old days and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And it inspired me from 3,000 miles away. He inspires me, and I pick up the guitar and wrote a song called Good Old Days. And he's talking about skating and all, just radio, like the way radio should be. The way
And it has a chance to go back to being that. It's about corporate radio has ruined it.
right.
Right. But what they've done is they've put themselves in a hole, and now corporate radio has to sell off and get off that, because radio was never meant to answer to the shareholder. Radio's always been meant for the community.
Right.
So the radio stations that are figuring that out are getting back to having strength. The radio stations that are paying attention to the community and the listeners and active in the community and doing all that are winning. And
Yeah.
the ones that are still trying to figure out how to make a shareholder happy
Right.
are losing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No,
I can't wait till it turns. It's going to be a minute, but it's going to turn.
It needs to be. It needs to be about the personalities, because that's what when I was a kid, that's what we did.
Yeah.
We tuned into, Casey Kasem and Rick Dees and people. We tuned into, these people that were our personalities at radio and turning us on to new music and things. And that's what the freedom. There needed to be this. There's moments that I remember Vertical Horizon being introduced to their song at radio.
Yeah.
And Ryan Seacrest locks the door and plays their song 2 times in a row and then gets in trouble and then didn't care because he started to build this personality that it didn't matter. And I remember talking to Matt Scannell, and he jumped up on stage with me one night and did a song of mine with me. And I was telling him that. I go, I was introduced to you, but your song was played 2 times in a row. It's like, who does that?
Right.
It's Star Radio in L.A.
Right.
Right? And then was told you can't do it, so he does it again. He goes, yeah, my label was in shock. He's like, that moment launched his career. That was his, I guess, like a social media moment.
Yeah.
Before social media was a thing.
A moment.
Yeah, exactly. That was a moment.
Before it was a
Right.
moment.
Sorry, we just went into just
No,
chatting.
no. I mean, I worked for a radio station back in the '90s, where there was a pop station down the hallway,
Yeah.
and I was at the rock station, and he tried to do that. Well, he did it with Aqua Barbie.
I don't know.
The Barbie song.
Oh, okay,
Some
yeah, yeah,
stupid- It was a
yeah.
horrible song.
Yep.
Anyways, he had his door. We all kind of worked with our doors open.
Yeah.
So he had his door open, and he was playing this Barbie song, and I walked over, and I was like, dude, Just back to back, back to back, back to back. And I was like, dude, you need to shut your door. And he was like, nah, I'm cool. I'm going to leave it open. I was like, all right, bitch. You just brought a knife to a gunfight. And I propped my door open and I grabbed Pantera 5 Minutes Alone and I threw that bitch on. And let me tell you, his door shut so quick. Done. And I never heard that Barbie song again.
Wow.
Ever again.
Yeah.
That was the good days, though, man.
Yeah.
That was the fun days. I mean, I made people like, somebody tattooed my name on their ass for Rush tickets. You know.
Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it was just crazy.
At the same station in Alaska, I remember walking down the hall, and this guy, Matt, he went by Matt Kelly, and he was at the big country station. So there was rock, country, then there was the hot AC station, all in the same hallway. And it was weird because they all were aware of each other. It's a small city,
Right.
but they didn't work together. They didn't work the same. They all had the same over the boss calling the shots, but then they all had their own bosses. And Matt Kelly said to me, you walked in one morning to do the show, walked past me, and I shut my door. You know, he goes, you scared me. And he goes, and man, I would avoid you. There's that guy. Like every 6 months or so, I'm back into town doing a show, whatever. And he goes, I wasted 5 years not getting to know you. And he became one of my closest, dearest friends out there. And you know, like buying me Harley shirts and coming to family events. And he's like, 5 years based on judging you on
By
the way you
looks.
looked.
By
Yeah,
looks,
I
yeah.
judged you on the way you looked.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know that guy. Like, who's that? Like,
Because you're such a bad guy.
yeah, I know.
Bad guy, Brian.
I know. I could be the guy sitting on the plane in the aisle seat on Southwest. Larry, I'm serious. I get in, I sit down, I'm in the exit row aisle seat. They say the flight's full. And I'll sit there, and no one will sit next to me until they have to. Until there's like, I've videoed it.
It has its
It does have its perks. Yeah.
I love that. Bryan Hopkins.
Yeah.
I know we've already started. But we're going to do like an official start. Bryan Hopkins, you are doing some music.
I am. I'm trying. Thank you.
You're doing your own
Yeah,
jam now,
I am.
right? Are you
I
still
am.
with Ben?
I am. Ben's my best friend, and we write together, and we still write together, produce together, work together. But he's off doing the corporate cover band stuff.
Okay.
And I probably know 3 covers.
Yeah.
So it's all about the songs we write, and so I had to step back and just be like, I looked at him last June, and he was helping me move, and I looked at him and said, look, I got to do this on my own. I'm sitting around waiting for you, and when you're available, and that's not enough for me, I have to do this every day. You know, this is something I have to pursue every day. Music is what I love. And so I started producing, like finishing the last songs on the album, writing and producing the songs without him, which is weird.
Yeah.
But it's also liberating too. He sat down. I think I sent you the EPK.
You did.
And he's like, can I help you with that? Can I be a part? And I'm like, well, you probably shouldn't, because I'm stepping out on my own. But we needed to play live, and the plan was to record live. And he goes, nobody's going to play that better than me, so just let me do that for you. And he stood there with tears in his eyes on the stage, and I went and hugged him. And he's like, wow, I forgot what this is like. And these are our new songs that are getting the people that we're giving them to. The response has been awesome, and he's been sharing it, playing it for people, and it's coming back, and he's like, well, that's us, but I guess it's Bryan now, and that's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard for both of us. Because
So-
you know us as the two of us together. It's Ben and
Elvis
Bryan,
Monroe.
Elvis Monroe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the last time I came on, I did radio with you,
Yeah.
we were going out on tour with Three Doors Down.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was just talking to Brad from Three Doors Down the other day, and he asked me how that was going, and same. And I was like, it's liberating. It's awesome. It's also sad. It's weird because I am somebody, my personality is I love being a part of a team. I was always a pitcher, quarterback, that kind of thing, like in sports. And sports was my thing before music. but I like being a part of a team. And so it's against my personality to sit here and have it be about me. It's about, I may want the control of failing. If we're going to fail, if we're going to lose, it's going to be because of me. If we're going to win, it's,
Right.
I have a big part of it, and I like to control that part, that aspect, but to sit there and talk about myself is against my personality, really.
You're a collaborator.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
I love bringing people. I love bringing the best versions of like what Larry does right there behind the camera kind of thing.
Right.
Bringing the best people that I put together and making the best product and putting out the best thing I possibly can, whatever it is. I'm finishing up a children's book right now. I have a movie in the works with my buddy Scott Hartman over at the New York Film Academy, that I'm doing all these projects, but I want the best. I'm putting the best people together for it. So, yeah.
The new music, we're going to talk about the movie in the book. Trust me.
Yeah.
We're going to hit that. But your new music, Elvis Monroe was based in country.
Yeah, it was weird because it was but we got pulled in that direction, and it was just songwriting. I think was the reason why, not production or anything like that. It was just being told by certain people, well, this is the direction you want to, we want you in, and I'll tell you, country music, it has a big audience, and I can make a living in that space. Rock, I love rock. My favorite shows have been out with Three Doors Down, Daughtry, playing with Bush live. Who else we were with? Rock. Oh, I was out with Josie Scott most recently with my solo stuff.
Yeah.
I was out with Josie Scott, but it's weird because it takes so many rock bands to be on a bill to put bodies in a room or in a space, and I don't know why. It makes me sad, but also what people don't know out there is a lot of times you're buying your way onto these things. I've never had to do that. Luckily, these are my friends asking me to go out on the road with them, and I'm making money, but country, there's just more room for it. So my new album lives in a space that one song leans to a rock feel. This one over here, I have a hip hop artist on what will probably be my second single. It's called Competing with Giants, and it's telling my story. And then I brought on Superman. He goes by Supaman, Superman. Big Native American hip hop artist, Crow Nation Indian, totally inspiring. He heard me play this song on KLOS, and was it KLOS with Frosty, Heidi and Frank. Sorry,
Yeah.
not Frosty. He's not longer there, but he heard me play the song live, and he texted me and said, "Man, that song's fire." And I said, "What song?" Because I played 2 on the radio, and he was in Montana, and I said, "Do you want to be on it?" And so he flew out to Vegas, and we went to Iconica Studios here in Vegas, and I put him on the song, and he sent me a track, and he said, "Would you write to this?" And he thinks I sound like Bon Jovi, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And he goes, "I want that Bon Jovi-esque thing that you do. Could you write a hook for this?" And in 30 minutes, I wrote a full-blown chorus, lyrics, sent it back to him. And so by the time I got out here, we cut both songs.
Nice.
So that one's being mixed right now. The other one's done. Mine, Competing with Giants, is done.
You working? Speaking of Bon Jovi, aren't you working with somebody?
I am.
Yeah.
Phil X from Bon Jovi. He
Yeah.
took over Phil. If you don't know who Phil X is, look up Phil X in the Drills. Look up Phil X on social media. We have a memory of us. I used to be in a band called Paperback Hero. We would open up for Steel Panther. They were Metal Shop, then Metal School, then Steel Panther. And Phil X and the Drills, and myself, we would be on the same bill a lot of times. And my band, Paperback Hero, was a pretty big band because of Steel Panther in Hollywood. And we have a memory of singing Living on a Prayer in the audience while they were doing it. And then they pulled us up to do it with them. And he goes, man, I get to do that with John now. And it's just, he goes, I always have flashes of you and I singing at the top of our lungs together, but now I'm doing it with John Bon Jovi, you know?
The
guy,
real deal,
right?
Yeah.
And so we're such good friends that he saw a thing online and he asked me what I was doing with the song, and I'm like, I have a lot of songs that I can't get to recording, and he's like, you know, that's a good song. I'll play on it. So I cut scratch vocals and guitar and and drums and sent it over, and he's cutting it right now. And he had a computer crash. He's like, give me a minute. My computer crashed, and I'll finish it. Right. And then last night I was on the phone with the Nelson brothers, Matt and Gunnar, Ricky Nelson's sons, and they're singing. They should be turning it in right now, hopefully. 4 o'clock was 6 o'clock their time in Nashville.
Yep.
They said they would be done by 6, send it over. They had to hit the road. They had a show in Missouri. They had to jump in the van and take off to go do for tomorrow. But I'm blessed. I'm really lucky to, like I said, when you get the best around you, to be a part of it. I sent you the EPK that nobody's seen yet, and I talk about that. I am lucky to be surrounded by such talented, inspiring individuals, and I don't want to be the best one in the room. I want to learn from everybody, right. And that's the goal. Like, to be a better version of myself is to put myself in uncomfortable situations, and then try and live up to the challenge. You know.
You were working on a new song the other night when you texted me.
I did, and I was.
What's that song?
I have a brand new song. It's gonna be my first single. It's called Paradise and Peace, and it's about my brother. I lost my brother in December, and my brother had a heart condition, and they gave him 3 months to live, and he lived 5 years and 3 months. It's my brother passed away in my arms in December, and his last words to me, he looked at me and said, I got to do this warrior's walk alone, and you can't come with me. And he said, you can't save me, you can't trade with me. And I was just talking to my mom as I was pulling up here to do this with you, and talking about that. And in that moment, my brother with me always was like, with me, he would turn into this little kid, but he was just real badass, like really with a great big heart and really sweet to everybody, and didn't have any kids, was married, didn't have any kids, had 2 big dogs he loved. And nieces and nephews and stuff were his world, right? But with me, turned into a little kid, and in that moment, I just saw a warrior. Like, he wasn't a little kid. He knew what was going on and the choice he was making to let go. And so I did a 3-day water fast to honor my brother. Instead of, we're Native American Indian. I'm Lakota, this Lakota nation, and that's, I'm going back to my roots. I'm going back to, with this record, if I did that early on, I would have alienated Ben, you know. And like I said earlier on, I'm a team player. I love being around, being a part of a team, and I don't need the focus to be on me. But right now I have to. Mm-hmm. So this is who I am. And so I did a 3-day water fast to honor my brother. I was going to do a sweat lodge, and I didn't want to go hunt that down or anything and have to rely on anybody else. This was just something I said I would do for him. And the whole time I'm asking him, what are you doing now? What's going on in your world right now? And 2 days after it, I started writing a song to a piece of music that Scott Bartlett from the band Saving Abel, the guitar player from Saving Abel, had come into town, hit me up and said, Bryan, can I borrow an axe? I need to borrow a guitar. I just want to sit in my suite, play guitar. I'm like, I'm not in the space to entertain you or go hang out. And he goes, nor am I. I'm just getting away. I want to come into town and just veg. So I gave him a guitar, and when he gave it back, he gave me a piece of music. And he goes, I wrote this on your guitar. Maybe this could be a co-write. And I remembered that. So I went to that piece of music, and this song came out. And I knew I wanted it to be something. My whole record has all these elements of rock, country, pop, hip-hop, dance, all these feels to it, and the way I produced it with Ben. And I go, this is a piano song. I don't have a piano song. I've never had one. And so I flipped it from being this acoustic guitar thing to piano, and I called up a friend of mine, Kevin Zucker. And Kevin is a 4-time Grammy-nominated, producer, 2-time Oscar. I'm like, what are these Oscar nominees on your wall? He's like, oh, yeah, for music. I'm like, damn. And I'd asked him, how well do you play piano? And he goes, that's my number one instrument. And I'm like, send him the song. It's me singing in the car. And just from phone to phone. And he said, he's like, let's do this. Get over to his house, and we just knocked it out. And next thing you know, my brother's Chris Latham from Beasto Blanco, the band Beasto Blanco with Calico and Chuck Garrick from Alice Cooper. Calico is Alice Cooper's daughter. He's my old guitar player from Paperback Hero, my old songwriter, partner on that. And my brother's first band was with him. And he's like, man, I saw you online working on a song. Where you at on the bridge? And I go, bridge is done. He goes, can you send it to me anyway? You can mute it if you want. And he sent me back this beautiful piece with a solo, and I'm like, that stays. I was in tears. And I'm like, now you have to play, from that point on, you have to play on the rest of the song.
That's right.
So now there's electric guitar. Now all of a sudden there's this, excuse me, it reminded me of like this right out of Top Gun, like gave me chills moment, like when the movie opens kind of thing. I'm like, bro, like, he goes, well, try being me. I sat here crying, laying that down, and remembering all the times, all the hours I spent with your brother writing music, and I would just want to do right by him. Well, it started building from there. I called up a friend of mine, and I was like, hey, Jason. Jason was the guy who we grew up with. And this guy played with Sarah Evans. He's produced by Jude Cole. Toured. He was on the label with Kiefer Sutherland, and he's a well-known producer now. I said, do you hear drums on this? He goes, oh, yeah. And he's a drummer. And he goes, let me put drums and bass on it for you. And I go, bare bones. Sent it back. Again, emotional. So Jason Carter out there, thanks, bro. He just, in his studio, cut the drums and bass. And one of his engineers and mastering guys put the bass down. And Matt Nelson said, who played the bass? And I go, some guy named Mike. I don't even know his full name yet. He goes, great job. Tell him great job. And Matt's a bass player. Right. And Matt and Gunnar are hard to please, And they hit me yesterday saying that. And so now Matt and Gunner's running the helm. He hit me last night and said, Bryan, it's a great song. And I'm like, Gunnar said it's a great song. He goes, great song. Gunnar doesn't like anything. He's hard to please. So I literally said to him, man, when you like something, I'm scared.
Right.
So I said, guys, I want to, what's happening is that song is going to be mixed, and I'll put a little, just like a computer master on it before I have somebody do it for me, probably Mike, the guy who played bass. But this version of it, I'm taking to South Dakota on Monday. I fly to South Dakota on Monday. because my brother, one of his final wishes was about 2 years ago, he said he had a vision. He knew it wasn't a dream. He had a vision. He said, I walked the Trail of Tears at Wounded Knee. And he thinks he was little. And my mom thinks he was too. And a kid. And he goes, I want to go back there. Can you take my ashes back? So his birthday's Tuesday. And we're taking him back. And I'll play the song for my family in our little family ceremony. And so we're going to be at Wounded Knee and do that for my brother on Tuesday. And when I get back, I'm putting David Pichette, who shot the EPK, is my old fiddle player. And I said, I need violin. It needs some strings, I think. And we'll put that on when I come back and mix it, shoot a video. Bringing my parents back with me. I think we're going to go out to the Pioneer Saloon out in Good Springs. And I'm going to shoot the video there. Top of the hill, shoot the video, have my dad play the drums. There's like this eighth note that sounds like drums, like when we were kids and we sat around singing and dancing, and that went away when my grandma died when I was 8. But the drums went up in the attic and the guitar stayed, but the drums went away. So I'm gonna have my dad. He doesn't know that yet. I'm gonna have my dad and mom, my sisters in the video, and that's what we're doing. And then so Superman and I will be putting out Little More Time, which was a song that he lost his brother last December. I lost my brother this past December. And when he sent me the track, he sent me notes and 4 examples. And I remember this. I sent it back 30 minutes later. He goes, you're done with the song? I'm like, yeah. He goes, then the examples I gave you helped. I go, what examples? I didn't have my glasses on. So I didn't see that he had sent me in the email these examples. And I'm like, oh, man, I let you down. You put in all this work to find me. He goes, no, man, it was perfect. I wanted to punch him in the heart. He didn't tell me what the song was going to be about. And he goes, I do now. This is about my brother. I've been wanting to sing about my brother and tell that story. I said, well, at the time, I said, my brother's on borrowed time. So in the second verse, he paid tribute to that. And I took it upon myself to finish the song for us. So I put violin and some guitar on it and some stuff that he wouldn't normally have on his hip hop. But he takes and builds beats, and it's with traditional instruments, and he'll even dance, and you hear the bells, and he'll dance, and those get caught up in his tracks. The guy has 1 million followers, and everything he puts out is in the millions, and he's just incredible. And I discovered him on radio. My niece played him at radio, college radio, and I discovered him there. So.
What's the name of the tune?
Little More Time is the name of that song.
What's the one with
Paradise and Peace?
That's right, Paradise and Peace.
Yeah.
And you're going to be releasing it?
Oh, within probably the next 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay.
It's my first drop as Bryan Hopkins.
Okay.
And Little More Time will either be simultaneously put out. We're shooting the video here in Vegas together. And his video, shooting my video, we'll be putting these out simultaneously. He's incredible. He's an independent artist, and he tours the world. He was just in Sweden last week, and he dances traditional fancy dances at the beginning of his show, and then puts on a real positive hip hop show and whatnot. So
this album is really genre bending, all kinds of ways.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
No, and it is. And I'll tell you, I was on my Harley one day, and this was during COVID. So I'm on my bike, and my girl, we're not together anymore, but I'm so grateful for this moment. She started playing from her phone or watch to my bike this album, this artist, and it was all over the place. It was like, had rock, and it had some dance feels, and just really just all over the place. And I kept asking, who is this? And she wouldn't tell me because she knew that I would probably just say, nah, just turn it off. Like if I didn't like the first song kind of thing, just turn it off. And I'm like, who are you going to play? She's like, I'm not telling you. And it was Post Malone.
Yeah.
And I made her play Circles probably 10 times. You know, the Hollywood's Bleeding and the Ozzy, the one with Ozzy, and just all these songs. And I went, oh, wow, this is cool. Like, this is the way music should be. Because when you talk to most artists, look, Papa Roach has Carrie Underwood on a song. Carrie Underwood's a rock fan too. I love all kinds of music. Like I'm a fan of all kinds. I went to Blue Ridge Festival, and that's where Josie Scott and I became great friends in an interview. I got asked to interview him for a radio show, and I'm like, I'll do it. I'll interview him. And he was reuniting with the original guys, the Sweeney, before he passed. He jumped up in front of 10,000 people and played 3 songs. I didn't know I was capturing this moment, but I didn't know I was going to get a friend out of it. So he and I became close and started, working together on things. But people, it's just like being a fan of all kinds of music. I grew up on country. My mom played me 50s music. My dad sang country music. My mom played me 50s music. I loved U2, Depeche Mode, Tears for Fears, like all of these bands that were,
Post-punk.
Yes, post-punk and very, very melodic driven songs. Production, if you listen to it, wasn't great, but it's what they had at the time.
Tears for Fears, The Hurting.
Come on. Amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah. And you have artists that, like, even I'm a big Elvis fan, but if you asked me to sing a whole Elvis song, I couldn't. You know what I'm saying? But I can fake my way through an Elvis song. But big fan, Beatles, and I'm just all over the place. I'm a big fan of music, and when you get chills up your arms and back of your neck by watching someone perform or hearing a piece of music, and music's supposed to take you on a journey. Music's supposed to marks these times. Like, I can remember, I've done a lot of radio interviews, but I remember sitting in and talking to you. I was so honored to get to actually be on your show and sit across from you and talk about music and talk about what I was up to and where I was going on tour.
Right. I remember.
I remember it very clearly. There are certain things that stick out, and there are certain songs that remind me of that time, what you were playing in the station at that time. And I'm a big Bad Omens fan. Like, oh my God.
Have you heard the new Sleep Token?
Oh yeah.
That's blowing up. I mean, it's Emergence is a song when you hear it and you go, oh my God.
Yep. I went it was a Blue Ridge Festival. I went to see on one of the stages Bad Omens, and a band was on right before them, and it was Memphis Mayfire.
Yep.
And Matty Mullins jumps off the stage, and I walked up to him and I was like, bro, I was blown away by you right now. I wasn't here to see you. I didn't even know who you were, and now I'm a fan. And we got to talking for 45 minutes, swapped numbers, and I've seen him multiple times now. And when I hear a song on the radio, I'll text him or I'll send him a little clip or whatever. And because as an artist, you love those moments. You don't take those moments for granted at all. What you do, what you're doing, and it's creating careers, and you're keeping them alive, and you're creating fans, and it's all about putting people in the room. And because I don't care if I'm playing to 10 people or 10,000 people, you're going to get the same show with me, but it always feels good to have, a room full of energy. It feels amazing to have them moving with you, singing with you, and you do that. And
There was a time though that you were afraid of the stage. How
Oh,
did you work through that?
I was a kid. I have a children's book that I dreamt and woke up and wrote it, and I was like, this is a vision. And so I have a children's book. It's being illustrated right now by a friend of mine, Stephanie Stevens, a tattoo artist, by the way. And it talks about that. I was 5, 6 years old, and a teacher asked me to Indian dance for the class. And I said no. And she still put everyone in a circle around me outside and tried to get them to clap in time to get me to dance. And I'm like, I'm not doing it. And I just built that moment. She didn't do it on purpose. I don't even remember who she was. But I got major stage fright. I was an actor for a long time, and I had to take on like meditating to keep from nerves causing, redness, just red,
Yeah.
turning red.
Yeah.
The casting director's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "No, I'm fine." And it was. Nerves was taking over my body. So it was one of those things where I wasn't doing music. And I've told this story before. And Ben loves it because he knows my brother was there for the first one. My other friends from the band, from the group, the guys next door, were at the second time this happened. But in short, I was chased out of Universal Amphitheater. I was with my agent, my brother, and one of my best friends, and we're watching a Kiss FM show, right? And I literally got mobbed by a bunch of teenage girls. Then my brother and it happened twice that night. My brother, the second time, just takes my head and runs me through the crowd, and we're being chased from over the bridge to behind me, through the buses, get to the fence. Girl catches me. I'm like, "What do you want?" She's like, "Oh, hug me. You better go." So I hug her, jumped the fence, and just was like, "Oh my God," they're just screaming along the fence with the tour buses behind them. Van pulls up. It's a buddy of ours. We jump in the car. I'm like, that must be what the Beatles felt like. What the hell just happened?
Right.
My agent calls me the next day. She goes, "Do you play guitar or sing anything?" I've never witnessed anything like that before. I went, "No. My dad sings, brother sings, uncle, cousin, my other uncle. I don't." And she's like, "Well, maybe this is something we need to look into." Well, flashing forward about 2 months, I go to another concert like that. I'm in Ventura County. It happens again. I'm in the audience. They move me to a hallway. Promoter comes out. I know nothing about that side of the world. I knew nothing about music really. I'd been to 2 concerts, at this time. And the promoter puts a lanyard on me and goes, "Can you remember this?" And he rattles off Rainbow Girls and some other stuff. And I'm like, "What? Why?" He goes, "Who are you?" I go, "Nobody." I was living in my car in the North Hollywood Gold's Gym parking lot. I worked at Jerry's Famous Deli from midnight to 7 in the morning, and I would sleep in the car in the daytime, go to the gym, shower, go to the movies. Well, so I'm literally saying I'm no one. I don't know why they're acting like this. He goes, "Well, this guy's bombing." He had a host. There's 2 shows. There was a matinee show, about 2,000 people. There was an evening show, about 2,000 people. And this is the matinee, about halfway through. And he goes, grabs the mic, hands it to me. "When I point at you, go get them fired up. When I point at you, remember, Rainbow Girls, blah, 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 blah." I walk out on stage and 2 spotlights hit me. I'm in front of 2,000 people. I'm freaking out. But okay, like, this is unreal moment. I get him going. I tell him to turn off the spotlight so I can see the crowd, whatever. I look over at him. He points at me. I introduce him. And as I'm walking off, I thought, how do I earn this? I didn't earn this moment. But there has to be, I'm supposed to be here. And how do I earn this? But I have to overcome this fright. So I hosted the rest of that show, and the nighttime show, got to hang out. So then a guy walks up to me at the restaurant, grabs me by the arm and goes, "Hey, man, you a singer?" I'm like, no. He goes, that's funny. You've been singing Walking Past Me all night long. His name was Alan Savory. And Alan said, we should get together and talk. We started writing. And I started working with a guy named Mars Lazar, who was producing Seal with Trevor Horn at the time. And they got me into music. So they told me that I was only going to be somebody shooting videos, whatever, because I was so afraid of the stage. I'm like, no, that's where I need to be. So I had to work at this.
Right.
And so the only way to do that was I saw these guys in a park and auditioned for their band. And I did a show for a guy named Happening Harry. And we sold out the place, people standing on chairs. I saw him at NAMM in 2018. My bus is parked outside NAMM, right in the parking lot. Thousands of people walking past my bus. It says Elvis Monroe on the side. And I go, Happening Harry. Oh, my gosh. He goes, I remember you. I go, yeah, you were my very first show ever. You booked me on my first show. He goes, that's your bus. I said, yeah. He goes, I know the band. He goes, you guys are good. He goes, you were not good then. I go, damn. My girl's like, that was rude. I go, he's right.
Right.
But I had to overcome it. And the moment I did, it became my place. You can hand me a mic. Like, you can't shut me up right now. Like, you're barely getting to ask questions because
I love it.
But it's what I'm saying is,
good.
It's my space. Yeah, it's my space.
I don't have to work.
It's my space. It's my place. It's what I love to do. And once I overcame that, it's the one. I love being on stage. I love performing. I love sharing stories. I'll set up my songs, and that's how I have. My phone is full of videos of people singing back my songs, and sometimes I've written them the night before. I'm standing in front of 3,500 people, and David Lee Murphy, the guy who wrote Dust on the Bottle and all these big hits, walks up to me and goes, I don't know those last two cover songs you played. Who were they by? I go, we wrote those. He goes, what? I've never heard them before. I'm like, no, the second to last song I wrote last night in the hotel room. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, we thought we'd just try it out, and had them all singing it with us. And he's like, take my number. We have to work together. So that kind of thing, just, it's what I strive for. It's what I live for.
The children's book.
Yeah.
So is it like a kid being chased by girls? Because
No. It's not. It's not.
are you running from the girls?
No. Yeah, it's not.
But
No.
it's about. Is it about?
It's about overcoming,
your
your
fear.
fear.
Yeah.
And that's he just tells it's wild because I had this vision, and it was me as an adult now, and me as a kid, but I was the father to like the young version of myself, and this overcoming, because as a kid I couldn't read something without reading it out loud. That's the only way I could digest what was being said.
Sure.
And so I was constantly just kind of like mumbling, and otherwise I'd get bored, just drift off, whatever. But I had to read it out loud to take it all in. And then I couldn't get up in front of class. Teachers would ask me to stand up and read, and I'd be stuttering, so nervous, like forgetting, like staring at words that you know and just not reading them. And so that's part of this story and this journey this character goes on. And I use my brother's name, Cody, for the young version of myself, and Achoots, which is my Indian given name. It means first son, as the older version of myself. So it's a father-son thing. So I got really, I woke up and wrote it. And I love hummingbirds. And so there's this hummingbird aspect of this book. And then it was wild because I've been trying to find an illustrator for the longest time, the right one for this. And I didn't want to do the AI thing. It doesn't have any soul.
No soul. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And so my friend Stephanie Stevens, who's a badass tattoo artist, she's going to do it. And I'm excited to get do that with her. So
I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
seeing this book for
Yeah,
sure.
thank you.
And you have a movie.
Yeah, I'm working on a project with a buddy of mine, Scott Hartman, at the New York Film Academy. It's one of my buddies I grew up with, and we had a long conversation on the phone one day, and when we got off the phone, he's like, "Hey, man, I just wrote a treatment," and then he wrote the script. And the other day, he sent me the first 38 pages. I know it's 72 total, but he's cleaned up the first 38, and it's called Last Show, and it's this character that it's loosely based on the conversation that I had with him, but it's within 24 hours, a 24-hour period of this artist who keeps talking about it's about the music, but is it really, kind of thing, or is he just comfortable? And he goes on this 24-hour journey, and it's what happens, and he writes his song, and it was wild because he had the treatment, and I wrote a song called Songbird Road, which made the record, which to me was most influenced by production-wise by like what Circles was from Post Malone, and I loved that. Ben and I were like, oh, this could be an acoustic song, and I'm like, it can be, but I love this. I love this direction of what Post Malone took. So we kind of took that direction with the song. It's a winner at the shows. And so I written the song like 4 days after he had the treatment. I said, now you got to write the script. And I play the lead in this. So I get to play the lead in this project.
What is the sort of outline? Maybe
Well,
you don't want to give it up.
Yeah, I don't want to give it away, but it's this journey.
Is it a love story?
No, it's
Okay.
it's a struggle with an identity of who this person really is. He finds out who he is when things are stripped away, and what music really is to him when it comes down to nothing, when there's nothing left. What is it really? And like the night that I was texting with you, it was a classic example. I don't play guitar that well, but I picked up the guitar because I was going through something, and I heard somebody say a phrase at a party. I was with the guys from Otherwise, and I was at Ryan Patrick's house, and one of our friends, Dr. Natine engineered, and Natine says something, and I'm like, what? And I went home. And by the time I got home, I'd already written out all this stuff, which is not the way I write songs. I don't write that way. I go music, melody, lyrics. But I'm in the car, and I'm voice saying this into my phone. By the time I got home, I'm picking up the guitar, trying to figure it out. And you text me going the next day, and I'm still working on it. And you're like, hey, would you like to come on Kilpop? And I'm like, love to. Just timing of it. And I wrote this song. And it's on my social media. It's called Deathbed Regret. And that was a phrase he said. So I said, hey, Doc, I'm giving you credit. You get some writing credit, because I wouldn't have said that. And you're a good friend. And plus, he would know where that came from.
So, with your brother, I know for me, when my best friend in the whole wide world passed away,
Sorry.
I was fucking devastated.
Yeah.
To this day, I still don't even know if I'm past. I don't know if getting past it, whatever. But you know what I mean. It was 13, 14 years ago, and it's still a fucking bite. My father passed away a year-ish ago, about a year and a half ago, maybe. That was a completely different grieve. Like, two totally different grieve trips. Is that...
It is. It's,
yeah.
No, it is. And I've said this. I said it to my sister Buffy, who just texted me. I'll never be over my brother.
I don't think there is getting over that.
There isn't. But the thing is, I feel him.
Right.
I feel him. He lets me know he's around me, and I was saying that to my mom. My mom, we were driving over when I was driving over here to you. She goes, I need to change the phrase that I lost a son. She's like, because I didn't lose him. I know where he is, and he lets me know he's around. And I go, I know. It's the weirdest thing to. It's a discussion that we had. We talked about it. We had time to say goodbye. We had time to talk about certain things and then move on to normal conversation because you don't want to talk. It's too morbid or whatever the word is. But I'm like, yeah, Mom, I'm never going to be over my brother.
No, there's no getting.
He's my little brother of all things. You know, I'm the oldest of four. He was the second oldest. But to go out and do this for him, you know, we're doing it as a family. And there are just moments that I just cry. Yeah. I'll just start crying. And I'll be laughing at the TV and start crying. Yeah. Because that's what we did. We laughed together a lot. And as I said, like, I'm the one person. He was a scary dude by looks of him, and he was a singer songwriter, badass. Like, I was always trying to live up to him because he was so good. I was quitting projects and moving on to the next one because he would just come out of nowhere and just, are you kidding me? Like, and his music was his path. If you listen to his music, which is out there, Down from Hollow, he knew this was happening. He knew this was the way he was going to go. He knew that he wasn't going to live a long life. And it was just crazy. So for me, like, to sit back and have my little brother be gone is tough. But it also put, like, we're not here for a very long time. Right. It was a reminder that anything can happen to us at any time. It's sad to say we take for granted that tomorrow, here I am planning Tuesday to do this ceremony, but I could not be here too. You know, like, it's just nothing is, you know, it's sad. But that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. That's why these projects, I want to do them. I have a song with my brother. It's called Forever Family. It's on my record. When he got sick, I have an image in my head where my mom got cancer, lung cancer, and we're in our hospital room. They cut out the bottom of her lung, and there was an image. I'm talking about family. My brother's on FaceTime. My sisters are there, and we're just so tight, right? Our family is so tight. And I looked at my mom, and that day I went home and wrote this song. Well, I didn't finish the song until my brother was diagnosed, and that's when I'm like, okay, this was for you to do this with me. And I wrote the second verse for him. And so his wife drove him out here. We were out on tour with Joe Nichols, big country star. And we're playing at the Henderson Pavilion just before it was torn down. And my brother came out on stage, and there's a moment. It's on YouTube, and there's a moment. It's called Forever Family. And I stood there. That's when my brother in the hospital room asked to see me with a shaved head before he went. He thought he had 3 months. So did I. This was within the 3-month mark. And so I told him no, because I had hair like yours, big faux hawk and sideburns. And so we walk out on stage have him come out on this song. And I tell his story. And I said, we're going to keep him alive with love. And we're not going to listen to what the doctors say. And I go, we don't go into battle without, and I take off my hat, and I have no hair. And he's like, whoa. and you hear the crowd gasp. Even the person, the phones, the people who are doing videos, you hear them. And then I said, we don't go into battle without putting on war paint. And I put paint on me, and I did him up real fast. Just, we're both crying. And then we did the song. And so I went out a few times to record this song with him. And each time my brother he's like, I can do it better. I can do it better. That's not it. So each time, but he couldn't travel. So I'd have to find ways to get to him. So I went to Jason Carter's studio in Salem, Oregon. And my dad and brother came with me. I didn't want a lot of people in the room because that was what was happening. All these people wanted to be in the room when he was recording. And that's not how I do vocals, but they wanted to see this moment, right. You know? And so I made it just us. Walk in, I cut my vocals, I put him in there, and he had one of his attacks, which was supposed to, one of those was going to take his life, they said, or he's going to just go in his sleep. And he kicks me out of the vocal booth, get out. And he just works his way through it, cuts the song. Then I said, Dad, this is you now. And my dad's like, what? I go, yeah, I wrote this part for you. So in the breakdown, it's my dad on the song, and my dad was a singer in the family, when we were kids, and I had to walk my dad through it, and I look at the control room on the board, like where Larry's sitting, and my buddy Jason is in tears, and I'm like, you okay? He goes, I wasn't going to charge you for this, but I couldn't anyway after this, witnessing this today. He goes, my dad, I know, is sitting in the corner. I lost my dad 30 days ago. And I know he's watching this. And he goes, tell your dad to step out of the room. I'm going to put this together. And he's going to think he did it all in one take. Because I just coached my dad through each line, right? Don't sing it to me. Talk to me like I'm 8 years old. And this is what you're telling me. You're telling this to me. You're telling Cody, Angel, Buffy. These are my brothers, my siblings, right? And my dad comes back in and we play it, and he's like, I did that. And we're like, you did. Mm-hmm. And so now that song is done, and Jason, that's on my album. It's Forever Family, and I got my brother on there. My brother's on the song with me, and same with my dad. And the Nelson brothers, they called me. Matt was going to sing harmonies on it, and he calls me. I'm driving down the road coming from Sacramento. I'm like, is everything okay? And he goes, no. I said, what's wrong? And he's crying. Are you all right? He's like, Bryan, I'm blowing snot bubbles. I'm in tears. We never got to record with our father, Ricky Nelson. He produced us. We never recorded with our dad. He goes, I'm lucky enough to sing with my brother. We have that. But what you did, and this is Matt, then Gunnar jumps on the phone and goes, what you did, bro, is as if Jonathan Cain from Journey wrote the song himself. We know you didn't write a hit. You tried to write a hit, but you wrote a hit. And we can't do this today. It's too emotional. We're not going to do a very good job. We're going to come back tomorrow and do it. So the next day they called me and said, we're in a better place, and we're proud to do this. And Gunnar said, can I play some guitar on it too? I said, yeah, please. So they're on that song as well, which is off my new record, Forever Family.
When you were talking about all the people that are involved in the new album and how lucky you are and all these wonderful things, and all I kept thinking was, yeah, you have good karma, bro.
Thanks.
Because for many reasons, but we know that one of the big ones is Route 91.
Yeah.
I mean, you stepped up to the plate in a very, very dark moment, dark 11 minutes, and saved, to the best of your ability, at least 20 people. Yeah.
Yeah. It was, that was a crazy day. Yeah. I appreciate it. Thank you. When it was all over, I got scared when I got home. You know, I realized what had happened and what I did and how I tried to keep people from panicking and being scared. and promising him things that I shouldn't have probably been promising. Like, I'm going to get you.
Everything's
I'm going
gonna
to get
be
you out.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to get you out. It's okay. We're going to be okay. And not knowing that I was going to be okay, but trying to keep people calm and quiet and putting him over the wall and leading him out by foot and stuff. And the people that came out of the woodwork that, told me what I did, I don't remember any faces except for two, Nicole Rufino and Nicole Yorba. But other than that, and that's because they were the ones I was directly made a promise to, and everyone else was, if they were with me, then that's what I was going to do. All the way to the last thing where I walked people to like a Vons or something. I can't remember what grocery store it was, like a couple of miles down the road past the airport. About 13 people that once I grabbed one group, I grabbed another group and got them to safety, put them in a truck and got them to a home. And, but yeah, it's, and I appreciate it, but that's a thing. That's just one thing in my life. I've been sitting here talking about my family, and I have been the protector of my entire family. My parents had me at a young age. They were 16 when they had me. And then this huge community of people that surround my family because of two young kids having me, choosing to have me, and then have my brother and sisters, and then all the love. My brother was in the hospital. There was 30 people every day for a week there, coming from everywhere just to have a few moments with him. And I said a lot. And I looked at my parents and said, that's you. That's how you raised us, I wear my dad's dog tag. My dad's Marine, and my brother's ashes right here. So and I had my dad's dog tag, and I had this other Marine, his bracelet on, and I told his mom, I was like, I broke it. And I'm like, I broke the bracelet. And she's like, I'll send you another one. I go, your son was with me that night. I said, I don't know, because I wasn't afraid. I was just moving and helping people, and they had to tell me to sit down, and stuff. So it was a weird experience. But then I got scared when I got home and realized that, what could have happened.
What transpired?
Yeah. Well, I knew what was happening.
Well, you were in the middle of it. Yeah.
Right.
But
what I'm saying
yeah.
is that feeling of like, holy shit. Yeah. I was wearing a Captain America shirt, actually, which was one of my brands. I own Red Chapter Clothing, and I had a deal with Disney. And I had this Captain America shirt on. I said to my dad, who did I think I was? Like, are you kidding me? Like, but I wouldn't change a thing other than it not happening.
Sure.
If it didn't happen, but that's the thing. People are like, what are you upset that, it just kind of went away and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, even if they found out there was this huge conspiracy or whatever, it doesn't change anything. And just because we figure it out doesn't bring everybody back. And we don't just reverse time. This isn't a Marvel movie or something, like it's not going to blip and everything's okay. It's what happened. And I'm not letting it define me. Like I didn't go into the details of it that night. I don't really talk about it anymore. And to be honest with you, I was okay with passing those grounds for 6.5 years. I was okay because it didn't symbolize loss for me. It symbolized I had found the best thing that ever happened to me. My girl, Nicole, we fell in love. We broke up last year, right now, in April. Just careers taking us in two different directions. And so one day I drove past it. All of a sudden I started hyperventilating because it symbolized loss then. then I lost. And that was the first time that had ever happened to me. And I can go past it now, and I'm okay. I also just did a show in December. My brother gifted this to me. He's on his last days, and he died on the 15th of December. And that Thursday before, my brother's a huge Raider fan, biggest Raider fan. Marcus Allen Zoom called me, and my brother got to have an 8-minute conversation with Marcus Allen in the hospital room. When they had my brother on this medication and this heart thing that made him feel normal, and that was the day that they were taking it off of him. So we knew he was going to decline. But before that moment, with Tony Orlando's son, who Tony's great. We're great friends. Tony's the one who's pushing me to finish the movie. He called me, loves my album. He checks on me every 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. No joke. What are you doing with the record? Who do I need to introduce you to? What can we do? Tony Orlando, the legend. Mm-hmm. So John calls me with Marcus, who I'd had on my podcast before, and talked to my brother. So then the next day, my brother says, I need to get to my dogs. They need to know that I didn't leave them. I need you to break me out of here. Get me out of the hospital. So I said, all right, let's go. And my sister and I, and my mom, and my other sister, we all teamed up, busted him out of the hospital, said, better check him out. And we got him home on that Friday. And I was supposed to fly home and do a show with Jimmy Allen on the Route 91 grounds. They were doing a concert there, December 14th. And I was playing with Jimmy Allen. And it was for the North Dakota tribes that bought the land that are building a casino there. I had done TV the week prior, and then I got the call. And so the tribe saw me on TV, saw the article of me going back and playing that John Katz did. And my brother says, you're going. You need to do this for you. You need to go back to those grounds. And I need you to do this for me. Go. So I get him home, get him set up. I had canceled my ticket to break him out of the hospital. I was supposed to fly home that same time, whatever. So the next morning, I'm flying out at 6 a.m. out of Portland, back here, no sleep. Miles Shawn, who's my new guitar player, Neil Shawn from Journey's son, he's playing guitar for me. He's in Puddle of Mud now as well. And Miles and I had never played before together. He was learning my stuff. We couldn't rehearse. We went to sound check. I went on the grounds, not thinking about it, talking about how Jonathan Cain was like a dad to him. And we're pulling onto the grounds. And then we parked the car, and I went, whoa, bro. This is the first time I was so preoccupied with this conversation, I forgot where I was. And I thought I was going to be fine. I walk in, and I'm about to, talk to whoever. I go, will you handle this? I went outside. I grabbed my eagle feather, my sage, which, by the way, was gifted to me by Superman, a medicine bundle, when he left town. He's like, thank you for doing this, and gifted me with tobacco, a shell, an eagle feather that was gifted to him from a friend that had since passed. So I stood out there, and to calm down, started blessing the grounds. Well, I'm in the middle of sound check, and this is the first time he and I are playing any of the songs together. And we're sound checking the songs, and Chairman Mark Fox, the head of 3 Tribes, the guy with all this security around him, said, Bryan, I'd like to have a moment. And it was Mo Plenties was there from Yellowstone, myself, and a group of people, and they presented me, Chairman Fox presented me with a cedar box, and inside the box was an eagle feather. And he said, we know what you're going to do on these grounds. We know what you did on these grounds. We saw what you were, the way I spun it to being, we have to turn this into something positive. We have to remember these the people that have fallen.
Yeah.
You know, I talked about these things, and he goes, because we're building, you know, this will be on sacred ground, but we're building a casino here, and they want me to be a part of it, part of this journey. And so I was included in that moment, and they presented a beaded medallion to Mo as well. And I called my brother and sent him the video, and I said, "You just gifted this to me, because this wouldn't have happened." And they all came to surround me. His right hand, Jason, all these guys, all these people came. He said, "We're going to the show, making sure that we catch this, to be there for you." And I'm like, wow. So it was really special
Very. Yeah.
for me to have this moment. Then I did the show, and Miles and I didn't get to rehearse any of the songs. We played the songs, and there were some really great moments out of that. So, yeah, it was. And then the hard part was the next day. I get the call, and they said, "You have to get here now." And I had a ticket for Monday, and I'd already spent all this money. My fans, I call them the Elvis Monroe Mafia, right? But then I put together the war party for my brother when we had shirts and all these things. So now it's a Bryan Hopkins war party, because a war party, when you say that, it reminds me of my brother. So my fans now are the Bryan Hopkins war party. And so they came backstage, one of them, and they said, "Look, we want to give you some money to get back to your brother." And I said, "I'm good. I have a ticket. I'm fine."
Right.
The next morning, they had Zelled me money. There was money in my account, and I had to buy a last-minute $500 ticket one way. I didn't know what I was going to do. I was doing it. And they're like, "No, we want to be the ones to do this for you." So shout out to the Bryan Hopkins War Party, Elvis Monroe Mafia. It was incredible. Mike, Becca, everybody who led that charge, thank you. And they put me on a plane back to my brother. And I was crying and upset in the airport, sunglasses on in the dark on the plane. One of my best friends picks me up, and his wife, they take me to my brother. I walk through the door, and my brother says, "How was the show?" And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" Like, he's worried about the show. And,
Right. He's worried about you.
mm-hmm. And we talked. I cried. And then one of the last things he said to me, and then 45 minutes later, he was gone.
He waited for you.
He did. No, he told me. He
waited for
said,
you.
"I am not."
Yeah.
He said to me, "Stay calm.
Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere till you get here."
Yeah.
He made me promise on that Thursday, after Marcus Allen and all this stuff. He said, "Just promise me that you're with me when I go. You're the one with me." And he died in my arms. And he kissed his wife. She stood behind him, and he wanted his big brother. And yesterday, I just went and got a tattoo of his handprint on my shoulder. Stephanie Stevens just tattooed his handprint.
Yeah.
2 feathers to represent 2 bulls. That was my brother's Indian given name. My uncle gave it to him. He was Gary Hopkins, Gary 2 Bulls Hopkins, passed down his name to my brother. And so I have the 2 feathers, his handprint. My brother would always say, "Forever and always," like, "I love you forever and always." And I put "always and forever." I handwritten it. And then there's Mark Palmer, my business partner with Red Chapter. He's the most famous tattooed artist in the world because he does ambigrams. He's the guy who he took Hopkins and then upside down says family. So I have that on my shoulder. It's all this brand new tattoo I got yesterday.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's
I
beautiful.
wanted it before I left. So yeah.
Bryan, thank you.
Thank you.
I do appreciate you coming
Yeah.
by and hanging out, looking out for the new album.
Oh, thank you.
And the book.
Yeah.
And the movie.
I have a show coming up May 10th.
Where?
May 10th, I am at the Wild Horse Golf Course. It's a 19th hole bash.
Okay.
Miles and I are doing an acoustic set with a bunch of Hawaiian acts.
Oh, cool.
I got to look up, I'm sorry. I have to look up the name of the act. I sent it to you. Where are we at here?
Yeah.
No. It's on there. I don't want to. Where are we at? I'm so sorry. I feel horrible because
Well,
the
you can
headliner.
send me the
yeah,
info, yeah.
But the headliner is. I sent you the flyer.
Oh yeah. That's right, you did.
Yeah, there's
Yep.
a
I got it. Yep.
yeah big Hawaiian acts, Hawaiian/reggae stuff, but they put me on there on the show, which I thought was really
Very cool.
great. There's golfing in the daytime, so you can go to 19thholebash.com and yeah, so. It's a concert at the end, but the concert goes on all day. I think I'm on at 3:00, and it's a
Okay.
big festival out there.
That'd be fun.
But yeah, I'm
That'd be
looking
fun.
forward to it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for having
Yeah,
me.
man, I love it.
Are you kidding me? Like
I love
this
it.
is.
We'll do it again.
Yeah.
Always.
This is such an honor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wonderful having you.
Thank you.
Obviously, Yeah.
Thank you.
Love it. Thank you.
All right.
We good, Larry?